and dear colleagues and guests and students joining us in Zoom. Thank you very much for your interest in our department's research. I am Jenny, or Dr. Genevieve Fung, and I'm one of the neonatal academic staff at Prince of Wales Hospital, Chinese University of Hong Kong. So neonatology, that is management of newborn babies, is a very challenging and very exciting specialty. Our knowledge about the physiology, pathology, and management of neonates, especially the very preterm neonates, has increased the survival and also improved the outcome in the past 2 decades. However, there are still a lot of questions that we have not answered and a lot of new ideas to explore. So if you join us, we hope that we can embark on some interesting and exciting and useful research together. So let me introduce our department to you and also the work that we're doing in neonatology. So I'm going to talk about our staff, our students, neonatal medicine at Prince of Wales Hospital, our research, our collaborations, and future career. So first of all, let me introduce us to you. So this is our team, or part of our team. So for the neonatal academic staff, we have Professor Simon Lam and also myself. And we work on both clinical neonatology, which means that we do work with actual babies in an ICU, and we also do scientific research. And then we have our neonatal research team, a very good team, and we work very closely together. We have Dr. Kathy Chan, Mr. Raymond Wong, Dr. Peggy Chan, Ms. Kathy Low, and Ms. Connie Sito. And they're in charge of scientific laboratory analysis, data management, project coordination, and subject recruitment. And we also have 3 postgraduate students doing very interesting work with us as well. And so what is our department like? So for Department of Neonatology, this is a tertiary neonatal unit serving New Territories East region. Our catchment population is more than 1 million, and our annual delivery rate is more than 6,000 babies. So lots of babies in our unit, and also lots of ideas for research. Our team head is Professor Simon Lam, who is also in our academic team, so we work very closely together. And we have a total of 22 neonatal intensive care beds, and we are level 3 neonatal center. And we do perinatal care together with our obstetrics team for the high-risk pregnancies. And we also take care of babies who require surgery, stabilizing them and also transferring them for surgical intervention. And so some ideas about our research areas. We have 5 areas, or maybe 5 main areas of research. But if you join us and you have some new ideas, we are very, very happy to work with you and develop those new ideas together. So research areas that we are looking into are neonatal sepsis and necrotizing enterocolitis, diagnostics and pathogenesis. So this is something that we've been doing for quite a long time, and I'll go over that a little bit more later on in the next slide. We want to look at the microbiome of the preterm infants. We do some data-driven neonatal clinical research. And in the past, we've also done some prenatal and early life heavy metal exposure and clinical outcomes. And in the future, we want to look more into the mucosal immunity of preterm infants. So some areas of research, as I said first, one of the main areas of research that we've been doing for the past few years has been neonatal necrotizing enterocolitis. So for those of us in Zoom, I'll give you a brief idea what this is. So severe NEC, or necrotizing enterocolitis, is a life-threatening disease in neonates with a high mortality rate. And those babies who survive NEC may suffer from long-term consequences, including short bowel syndrome, intestinal strictures, adhesions, growth, and nutritional deficiencies. And so a lot of research has been going on to look at the pathogenesis, physiology, diagnosis, and management of NEC. And our team is also very interested in that. And because we have quite a large number of babies in our NICU, then we have a rich patient load. So our NEC research in Chinese University of Hong Kong include mainly biomarkers for early detection of NEC. And why is that important? Early diagnosis is very important because if we diagnose the patient early, then we can give the treatment early, or we can bring the baby to surgery early on, and the outcome would be better. However, NEC may be quite difficult to diagnose early on. So we want to identify a biomarker in the blood or in the urine of the baby or in the stool of the baby that would lead us to the diagnosis earlier. And this would contribute greatly to further decrease management and to decision making and further intervention. And hopefully that will improve the outcome of the babies. So the research areas in the past or currently are biomarkers for NEC, and we want to look at the gut microbiomes associated with NEC as well, and also do some tissue analysis as well. And if you look through the publications in our department for the past few years, you'll find that a lot of the neonatal publications are related to biomarkers for NEC. And we have looked at a number of interesting biomarkers for NEC, including the microRNA, some intestinal fatty acid binding protein, proapoprotein C2, a number of other proteins, interleukins, and calprotectin. And these have all yielded some very interesting results, and some of them have been proved to be quite promising markers for NEC. And if you want to look a bit further, you can search for us in PubMed, and you'll find our papers. And for the upcoming biomarkers research, we want to look at some further plasma biomarkers, which includes the mitochondrial DNA and also some promising urine biomarkers as well, and see if we can incorporate all these into our future management as well. And for this study, we already have some funding available, and this will be ongoing in the coming few months. And these are some of the publications in our department regarding this topic of NEC. So this is actually a very interesting area of research. And although a lot have been published in the past, there's still quite a lot that we don't know. So if you come and join us, then we can work together on this and see if we can develop further on this very interesting topic. And other research areas, since NEC involves the GI tract of the baby, as we are looking into this topic, we find that some studies have shown that NEC is preceded by an altered intestinal microbiomes. And for some babies with NEC, the microbiomes in the GI tract change as they are developing this disease. So this is actually a very interesting area of research. And as you know, microbiome has been a very popular subject of research in the past few years. And you see publications nowadays, or you see a lot of very high impact publications about microbiomes related to conditions in adult life. So, and preterm babies is one of those areas that we haven't really looked at. So this is something that we want to look at in the future. And so we want to do microbiomes analysis in neonates with NEC and also in preterm infants as well. And then, and then another area of research is data-driven neonatal research. And maybe the NEC research that I've talked about just now is lab-based research, which involves taking samples from clinical patients and then analyzing them in the lab. However, if you're not interested in lab work, but we want to do more computer-based work or more or work that involves with figures or analysis, then we can look at also the data-driven neonatal research as well. And this is research in the area of big data. So big data is a very popular topic nowadays. People want to look at data flow for a whole territory or a whole country or many countries put together and try to see some trends or some significant changes that would guide us to improve our management. So what about research in the area of big data in CUHK? Actually, some territory-wide neonatal data in Hong Kong, as well as international data, is very important to review our current progress in neonatal care and also to guide us in further research. So currently, we have some sources of data available. These of us, we need to ask for permission to get this data. For example, in the hospital authority, there's a big data laboratory, which provides data for neonates in all HA hospitals. So if you have any ideas about getting big data for research in Hong Kong, then this is a very good source as well. And we have also joined something called the ANZNN. It's an Australian and New Zealand neonatal network, and that will provide neonatal data from different centers in Australia and New Zealand and also Hong Kong. So data-driven research that we have been doing so far, we did some work on epidemiological studies on neonatal outcome in high-risk infants for over 10 years. And we also want to do some in-depth studies on specific aspects of neonatal management, including things like sepsis. So this is also another different area, but also very interesting area that we want to look into. And then another research area, which is in collaboration with another team in our hospital, is mucosal immunity in preterm neonates. And if you can see the photo, this is actually a press conference in CUHK about a new method of sampling nasal mucosal epithelial fluid that was developed during the COVID era. And Professor Renee Chan is going to talk about this a little bit further I think later on in her presentation. And one of our upcoming research areas is that we plan to work with the Professor Chan's team to do some work on preterm neonates to evaluate the microbiomes and mucosal immune defense in the nasal epithelium in the preterm neonates. So something that we are developing now. So would be another interesting area of research as well. And then in the past, we also had some community studies and questionnaire studies. Because we work in the neonatal intensive care, there are some questions or some ethical questions that are very relevant to us. And with our large number of babies in an ICU, it is relatively more easy or relatively better to do community or questionnaire studies on them. And so previous studies that we have done would be, we wanted to look at the attitudes of parents and healthcare workers to major surgery for high-risk preterm infants. This study was done in 2016 and also published. And then there was another one on end-of-life decision-making for newborns, which is very relevant for babies who are very sick in intensive care. And this one was also published in 2016. And we also have collaborative studies with other colleagues from other research teams. And for example, with Professor Tony Nelson's team, I'm looking at parents' attitudes on different things. For example, the screening for metabolic diseases of newborn, and also parents' attitudes on vaccines, and whether and what are the current attitudes, and whether there's anything we can do to improve vaccine uptake in children. So these are some these collaborative studies are ongoing or have just finished, and we are still waiting for results of those. But also because we have quite a large patient load, so if you have ideas for patient-based questionnaire study or community-based study, then you can talk to us as well, and we can maybe develop some ideas together. And so these are studies. So a very important aspect, as most of you would have heard just now, is that research collaboration or working with other teams is also very important. And it's very important to work with local teams, which is teams in Hong Kong, but also with international teams outside Hong Kong. So we have, for Hong Kong local teams, we have collaborative studies with Hong Kong Children's Hospital. So as Tom just mentioned, Hong Kong Children's Hospital is a very large hospital, tertiary unit, which opened in 2017. And they also have a neonatal intensive care unit there. However, in the Hong Kong stage neonatal ICU, they are mainly for babies who require surgery. So a very specific group of infants would go to Hong Kong stage for surgery. And however, the surgical team there would take in patients from many other hospitals, including QE, United Christian Hospital, Twin Moon Hospital, Bonghua Hospital, Princess Margaret Hospital, and also us. So they have a very large patient load as well. And so for neonatal research, we are just starting some collaborative research together with Hong Kong SIG on biomarkers for NEC. And they're looking at specific biomarkers in the blood and also in the stool as well. And in addition to biomarkers, they're also adding in things like ultrasound and also NIRS to assess babies with NEC. So that's a very interesting aspect as well. And so we plan for, because of their large surgical intake, we plan for further collaborative studies with them in the future for different surgical problems or for surgical problems that we're interested in. So something also to look at. And for international collaborations, we are part of the ANEZ, the Australian and New Zealand Neonatal Network. It's a multi-center registry for outcome data of high-risk infants since 1994. And it's a prospective audit of high-risk infants with level-3 neonatal intensive care units. And participating countries include Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Hong Kong, with a total of 31 hospitals, 31 centers participating. And we joined the ANEZ in 2017. So what does it do? So a report is issued every year with outcome data for all participating centers. And that allows benchmarking of neonatal outcome with other participating NICUs. However, it also allows research collaborations within the 31 centers in ANEZ. We can identify trends and variations in morbidity and mortality in newborns. Research assist with identification of areas of priority for research. And also, we can carry out multi-center studies and randomized control trials through collaboration. So for the ANEZ centers, if we have an idea for multi-center trial or randomized control trial, we can submit the idea to the ANEZ team. And then if that idea is feasible, then we can involve other centers in other different parts of the world to join in our study as well. At the same time, if other centers like in Australia have a good idea for research, we can join in as a participating center as well. And it is during these exchange of ideas and collaborations together that we can come up with new ideas and also come up with better data to improve our neonatal care. And potential future collaborations. So for local centers, we are collaborating with Hong Kong Children's Hospital and other hospitals in Hong Kong. With international collaborations, we have the Australian and New Zealand network. Hopefully, we may other centers that may be interested in joining us would be centers in Europe, for example, centers in the United Kingdom. And also closer to home, we can think about collaborative research projects with NICU in the Greater Bay Area, especially Shenzhen or Guangzhou. So, in the presentation just now, I hope I have given you an outline of the neonatal research that we are doing here. As I said, neonatology is a very diverse and exciting specialty with lots of scope for development. It's also a fulfilling specialty because the results of our research can provide information to improve management or to improve the understanding of diseases and improve the long-term outcome of babies in the future. So if you're considering a career in scientific research, we hope that you'll be interested to join us. I haven't put down my email here. However, if you go into our department website and you go into neonatology, you can find my email. I'm Dr. Genevieve Fung, and also Professor Simon Lamb's email. And if you're interested, then please contact us by email. Thank you.